control. When do we want it? Now. And we even got a kid holding up a sign that says, fuck the NRA. So let's talk about what's going on. What happened yesterday with these walkouts and this march on DC. Since the Parkland incident, children have been weaponized by the mainstream media, the anti-gun politicians, to push a political agenda. They are making this a black and white issue. You are either for the Second Amendment or for children living. You can't have both. So what they are doing is using these children as political pawns to say, well, if you support the Second Amendment, you want these children to die. And it's as simple as that, folks. It is not that easy. These people know what they're doing, and they want you to believe that all across America, every child, every student is for gun control, is for an assault weapons ban, is against trained teachers or maybe veterans or whoever being armed in their schools. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and about the agenda that's being pushed here. It has been bad before, but never this bad. So let's go over a couple clips quickly and just talk about this. Let's listen to what Ben Shapiro has to say, because he's going to make a very valid point that I just made.
When teachers are telling students to walk out, this is teachers using students to push their political agenda. End of story. This is not a bunch of students who are voluntarily deciding that they want to get together and walk out. It's not grassroots. This is being done from top down. When teachers tell students that it's time to walk out, when teachers inform students it's time to walk out, and students walk out, that's really on the teachers, not on the students. I'm not blaming the students, but I'm also not going to pretend that this was led by students. It wasn't. It was led by a bunch of adults who decided they were going to work with a couple of students and use those students as a prop in order to push a particular agenda. Again,
and that is cut and dry. It's as simple as that. Now, again, like I said, the mainstream media and these anti-gun politicians want you to believe that every student across America is doing this because they believe we shouldn't be able to own these weapons, particular weapons, or any weapons at all. They want you to believe every student in America is anti-gun, and if you are pro-gun, you want the children to die. And let me tell you something, that is just not the case. There are many, many, many students since the Parkland incident that have been suppressed because of their pro-Second Amendment beliefs. We saw a couple of them on Fox News, scripted questions for the CNN town hall where, a young gentleman who was junior ROTC refused to go because he was not able to ask the real questions that he had. And that was due to his pro-Second Amendment beliefs. My daughter, I have children, so let me first tell you that in no way, shape, or form do I want more children to die. And it's disgusting that anyone would infer that about somebody who is pro-Second Amendment. I spoke with my oldest daughter who's in junior high school, and she even told me how these kids were being pressured to do this. if from middle school, especially middle school on to high school, you don't want to be the odd one out. There's a lot of followers, and if you are not strong-willed enough to stand up for what you really believe in, most times these kids are going to go with the pack so that they don't look like the oddball, so that they can fit in. It's all about fitting in when you're that age. And you're going to do what the majority of the people are doing. And as I said, children were being forced to do this. And if they, in many cases, stood up for what they really believe in, it was either suppressed, they were threatened, or so on and so forth. And I'm going to go over a clip right now where that actually happened in Minnesota.
No, you don't. Yeah, we do.
On the Supreme Court. 505 says you cannot. Why? Put anything on unless you get.
You're going to go stand outside then.
And I want to stop.
So that young man was escorted off the property of his school. He was told he could not have his sign that said, "Guns don't kill people, people kill people." And then when, I guess the story goes, when he said he would walk outside of the group to hold the sign, he was threatened by the principal to be put in the back of a police car or something of that nature. This is disgusting. 100% disgusting. So, again, let's look at a couple of these clips from this march in DC.
They never had to worry about someone barging into their classroom with an assault rifle and slaughtering everyone in their class. That is an American tragedy.
And look at Schumer in the background with his devious smile.
They never
like,
had to
yeah,
think about getting shot at any moment.
Ban that Second
That's an
Amendment. Let's
American
repeal
thought.
it.
And they never had to worry that their child would be the victim of a mass shooting. That's
Evil
an American
bastard.
worry.
All right, so again, it's the usual suspects. All right, they've been pushing this agenda for so long, and they will capitalize on any incident they can to further push that agenda. And I would not be surprised if it comes about that there's not enough votes to get this new assault weapons ban through, that another incident will happen before the congressional session ends to try to reel in some more votes. And I know that sounds a little conspiratorial, but if you look at some of the facts, things don't add up. And I'm not going to go into detail. That's not the purpose of this video. Let's listen to what this young man has to say.
We will not sit in classrooms with armed teachers.
Look at giddy Pelosi over
We
here.
refuse to learn in fear. We reject turning our schools into prisons.
Okay. I believe that's Elizabeth Esty, my congresswoman, next to Blumenthal. So, we will not sit in schools with armed teachers. We refuse to be in a prison. So basically, they are refusing to think about this logically. They want to be protected, but not by a trained, armed individual. They are being led to believe, these children, and that's what they are, let's be honest, they are children, are being led to believe that by instituting another assault weapons ban, this will stop this from ever happening again. That is asinine. This is a nonsensical notion that another assault weapons ban will protect them, and putting an armed and trained individual in their school who will be there if an incident ever happened, instead of having to wait 7 to 10 minutes for a police officer, is dangerous. And they refuse to have that happen. So let's just talk about, first of all, the fact that Columbine, for those who don't know, that happened in 1999, during the height of the Clinton assault weapons ban. And I'm going to use this as an example. Dylan Klebold, as you can see in this picture, was using a Tech 9, a banned assault weapon. Did that ban stop him from using that? Nope, it didn't. And not only that, they don't like to talk about Columbine a lot because it opens the door for people to know this fact. You know, they like to bring up some of the recent ones, but they don't like to talk about Columbine. The fact that it happened during an assault weapons ban. The fact that there were explosive devices planted that luckily didn't go off. Propane bombs. 99, if you read here, 99 explosive devices. So, what does that tell you? That tells you that, first of all, gun bans don't work. Secondly, even if somebody who was a psychopath, who was intent on killing and causing bodily harm, could not get their hands on a so-called assault weapon, there are other means to do the evil thing that they are hell-bent on doing. Propane tanks, are we going to ban those? Anybody with half a brain in the internet can go to Home Depot and buy the materials needed to make an explosive device that could take out more people in one shot than one of these so-called assault rifles. And that's just the fact of the matter. You know, so I want to talk more about this political message that these children are pushing for these anti-gun politicians. So we should not be listening, or let me reword that. Children do not have the life experience necessary to know what they are talking about in matters like these. Plain and simple. They have no life experience. All right? They are not old enough to join the military. They're not old enough to vote. Most of these kids are probably not even old enough to get a job at McDonald's. Or many of them anyway. No life experience outside of their little bubble. You know, once these kids get some life experience, I can guarantee you that even though they played follow the leader, and I'm not saying all of them, some of these kids will genuinely probably feel like this their entire lives, because they're being indoctrinated into thinking guns are evil, gun owners are evil. Doesn't matter if you're law-abiding, it doesn't matter if you're a veteran, doesn't matter. Guns are evil, and the people who own them are evil, and they want more dead children. Because that's what they're being told. That's what the mainstream media is pushing. That's what these politicians are saying. So I can guarantee you that once these kids get some actual life experience, okay, their views will change. Not all of them, again, like I said, but many, many of them. And many of them already have these views, but they're just too scared to say it because they don't want to be the outcast, as I said. They don't want to be shunned and picked on and whatever the case is. So, and it's sad. It really is. And it takes a lot of guts for that young man in Minnesota to do what he did. It takes a lot of guts for children like this who talked about actual solutions instead of banning specific weapons. All right? So these kids protested with signs that said arm our teachers, protect schools, more armed security. All right? Because these kids are not sheep. These kids are not being led to the slaughter by their elected officials. And I'm not talking about the elected officials who are opposed to gun control. I'm talking about the elected officials that are standing behind them. The elected officials that are standing behind them. These ones all in here. The ones who want them defenseless for when the next incident happens, because the next incident, unfortunately, will happen. And if, by some chance, they get their assault weapons banned, it will not end there. It will not end there. Next, it'll be, well, sorry guys, all of your grandfathered in assault weapons, time to hand them into your local police department. That's the next bill. And then after that, it's going to be, well, another incident happened, so now we need to ban all the bolt actions. We need to ban the shotguns because we need to make sure that no citizen has access to a firearm. We are the only ones that can have armed security. And before I end this video, let's just quickly talk about why they want us disarmed. Why they don't want us or trust us to be able to own firearms. It's not that they don't trust us or they think we're irresponsible. That's not what it is. What it is if the population of America smartened up and opened their eyes to the kind of shit that these people are doing and are getting away with, it would be very bad for them, for an awakened and armed population. Plain and simple. That is what the situation is. So I know I kind of went on a rant here, but this has been something that's been really bothering me. Having a child who is of that age, who told me what's going on, but yet the mainstream media wants to portray it like every student in America wants a gun ban now. And I'm sorry, but you are all being lied to. So anyway, guys, that's it for this video. This is Nick from Truth Blitz News, and I will talk to you guys next time.